The situation started when, on July 23, Elara Studio posted, "I am officially unemployed. I will soon make a post declaring this problem, and most likely I will move to another platform," and attaches an email from VGen saying, "Hello again. After reviewing the details provided, it's clear that the information shared does not reflect the full context of the situation. The client has presented a significantly different perspective, and we need to consider both sides in this mediation. The commission has been reopened while we complete this review due to repeated and complex disputes. Where your actions have contributed to negative escalations, we've placed a restriction on your account. You may complete your current commissions on VGen, but you will not be able to accept any new commissions until all outstanding projects are successfully completed. This restriction is final and not eligible for appeal, given the substantial amount of time and resources our team has spent mediating similar conflicts in the past. We're now in direct contact with the client to review their perspective and now available context. Once this process is complete, we will issue a final decision. For clarity, actions such as rushing the commission after the client had already requested cancellation were inappropriate and will be considered as part of this review. Thank you for understanding as we work to ensure a fair resolution." And continues posting, "This is the broken model I got trouble with. Apparently, the client told VGen that this model cannot be used. That is broken, the model was rushed. Fun fact, this took me a month and I sent her 15 video whips. If anyone's confused, what's going on is that the quote-unquote problem of the situation is that unless the client is happy and considers this a finished commission, they cannot accept new commissions, which can be a rabbit hole, but we need to look deeper into the situation to see what is really the problem. And to that, Elara Studio says, "I'm leaving this here. It's my last will and testament, along with the evidence. I will try to stay away and guard my heart because this is affecting me too much." On the document, it says, "Clarification. Please do not send negative comments to the people involved. Contest and clarification regarding VGen dispute. I never thought I'd have to write something like this, but given the recent situation involving a commission dispute on VGen, I feel it's important to be transparent. Not just for myself, but for the sake of other creators who may one day face the same. As many of you know, I work as a live 2D rigger and have always poured my heart into my commissions. Every project I take on is treated with care, communication, and constant updates. Unfortunately, despite providing a completed rig, along with numerous progress videos, iterations, and fixes requested by the client, they request a cancellation after I finish the full work. I have provided over 15 proof videos, each showing the evolution of the model, the changes applied based on their feedback, and final results. The client approved the steps during the process and even confirmed fixes were properly implemented. Everything is done under my terms of service, which clearly states that refunds cannot be issued once the work is complete and delivered. What's painful about the situation is that the platform did not initially give me a fair space to defend myself. I've always believed in VGen and felt supported there, which makes this moment even more disheartening. I know I'm not alone in this experience, and I speak up now to protect not only myself, but also other hardworking artists in our community. This document includes evidence of my process, communication, delivery, and every step taken to ensure the client receives the quality they paid for. I stand by my work, and I hope this helps clarify the full picture. Thank you for reading and for standing with independent creators, Elara." And attaches a drive with the quote-unquote evidence. Section 1, Conversations. And the convo goes, "Eric, I want to reassure I do fully trust you in your previous work. By this week, it's perfect. Thank you for understanding." And Elara says, "Tomorrow in the morning, when I finish some law task, I'll send it." And then the next day, Elara says, "Hello, Eddie. The brows and the eyes are done, so I'll continue with the mouth and the vibridor kit. I will make a test of it. Here's a whip," and sends a video. And Irate says, "Hi, Elara. They are looking so cute in the eye forms too. Am I able to get the water physics on the art in the eye too?" On a different day, Elara says, "Hello, Irate. I hope you are doing very well. Here's a whip of vibridor. I had to disable face angles because there are some some things that looked off and wanted to fix everything, but at least you can appreciate the vibrator here and send a video. Tomorrow I'll wake up earlier and continue working so I'll be able to send more progression. Have a good night. And then another video. More whips, more whip, showing the toggles they worked on. Some of them need to add physics, but don't worry. In the afternoon, I'll be sending body whips. Also, hair physics should be done by then. I also wanted to thank you for being very patient with me. I appreciate that. And Eric says, these are amazing. I love face and eye rig. Eric asks, have you rigged the O-ring yet? I just noticed that it doesn't quite swing and the ring distorts a little. And Lara says, yes, maybe it's because it's small, but I can't record a video showing it. I also fixed the brow issue and the nose thing. Here's the earring. And showing more things. Lara is saying, wait, would you prefer if I do it like this? Which means like asking for feedback. And Eric is giving feedback back. And Elijah says, hello, Ari. I'm going to sleep now. It's 3 a.m., but here's another whip. I made a lot of hips movements, and I still need to add more physics, but here's some process. I hope you like it. I also fixed all the other things you told me. And then more whips. And then, hello, Arid. I finally finished the model. Added a lot of fun physics and some extra free toggles. I still have to add some more physics, like the thing between legs, and a bit more. But as I said, everything, the important things are done and the small changes should be done today, 19th of July. The one issue is that I cannot deliver the model once the payments are fully made. And there it says, hey, lovely, I'm just out at the moment. I'll take a look at everything once I get home. I noticed a couple of things yesterday. I had some notes on too. And Lara says, sure. And then later, hello, Arit, pumping. And then Arit says on the next day, hey, Lyra, my grandpa just passed away and it's going to take me a little longer to get back to you with the notes. And Lyra says, I'm really sorry to hear that. Please take care. And Arit says, thank you. Arit says, hey, Lyra, I hope you're well. I've taken a look at the files and made a doc revising the things I've noted so far that need to be worked on. I've tried my best to include pictures and videos. Let me know if any of them are unclear or confusing. I'll continue to update you if I notice any others. I did want to ask if you could also send the videos of all the latest physics and expressions you revised. Please send a video using and toggling through all the expressions that extras we listed. I'll try my best to get back to you as soon as possible, just because I'm still breathing and my responses may be slow. And this document is not public, so we cannot access it, or maybe it doesn't exist anymore. Elias says, hello, Ari. The model is finally complete. We have 15 toggles in total with animated ones, and sends the file. I also wanted to mention things like the change of legs you asked me to do since they were very separated together. Actually, this is my rigging style. Sometimes it can vary depending on the art and style of the artist. I think that we riggers adapt the movements and animation according to the art and style of the artist. Therefore, there are things that cannot be changed because it is our own acquaintance according to the artist. I also tested Pentile Live 3D connected with VTube Studio plus Vibrator and looks amazing. And then more videos. I already showed you the heart animation before, and here's the mistake you sent me on that doc. Compare them to the new model fixes. I will make 2 clarifications regarding this. The legs, this is my rigging style, so I can't change it unless I want to remove the stepping motion of the hips. As a rigger, I will say, I don't like the argument of this is my rigging style, therefore I cannot change it. I had clients ask me to remove things that I did because it was quote-unquote my style, and as much as it pained me, I just removed it because the client wanted me to remove it. So the client has the final say. If the client's unhappy, I don't see why you wouldn't change it just because it's quote-unquote your style. They're explaining something, yes. Proof of progress. And here are all the videos. Those are all the videos they sent to the client. So progress was made. And then they also sent videos of the final product. And in response to that, Arid made a tweet saying, my experience with Elira Studios and Elira Hizora, but a document, which reads, my experience with Elira Studios / Elira Hizora. Please don't send any hate to the parties involved. I have received no files. Link to scrolling video of our conversation. TLDR, sent Elira my files. She reviews the files and agree upon our terms. I paid $500 Australian deposit and got released early to the rigger. A lot of issues with the commission being incomplete. refuses to fix them because it's her rigging style. Insists multiple times the model is finished. Then when I view the video, a lot of things I paid for are missing or incomplete. I approved an additional extension on VGen. No April communication from June 10th to July 17th, about 20 days. The 15 whips/finished videos are sent 3 days before deadline. After asking her kindly to cancel the commission, after this request, she spent 4 hours rushing to provide a more finished piece, still not deliverable and still incomplete. After this, she threatens me to take it to Twitter and tell me to keep my mouth shut to not make things worse. She also makes racial charged remarks about English not being my first language or that I'm broke or too poor. She threatens to get me taken off VGen. Hostile during our conversation. No files have been received. We're still just in the evidence, but if this is true, this doesn't look good. TLDR screenshot. Hey, liar, I would really love to add you on Discord so we can communicate super easy through the whole rating process. I would love to see all the updates, and I'm super excited for the whole process. My username is Arid. Am I able to process half the payment up front, half at the end? VGen is showing the invoice that the whole payment is due now. I don't really know how it works and if I can choose to send half. Also, I wanted to send you the files first before paying the commission, just so you can have a look at all the layers and special effects. My artist mama put a lot of love and layers in for the special effects, and I don't want them to get overlooked or missed in the rigging process. Also, I just wanted you to check it and make sure you're comfortable working on everything before I go ahead and pay for it. I wanted to be transparent and show you the files so you don't feel blindsided or overwhelmed by the work that the model needs. I have full faith in you, and your rigging style is beautiful, but of course, if it's overwhelming, please feel free to talk to me about it. Elia says, thank you so much. Oh my god, your model is so beautiful. I'm crying. Just revised the model and everything looks amazing. Well cut. Eric says, hey Elia, I've had a look over the video and there's still a lot of things that have not been fixed. Most of the things listed in my doc haven't been looked at, and if anything, there's now more things I need to add to it. Things we previously discussed and agreed on prior to start work, such as the special effects and water rigging, hasn't been added at all, and expressions I paid to be animated are not animated. There are still a bunch of layers missing on the model left in the wrong places. It might be easier to cancel the commission here, and you're keeping the first half of payment for the hard work and time we've already put into the model. I'm really sorry if it comes across as harsh. This is my first model. Like I said on VGen, I just really want every piece that my mama put in to not get overlooked or forgotten the rigging. Laura says, they are animated, and I was cutting the model to put those layers missing that I accidentally deleted. That's not a good look. And just put the layers back if you deleted them by accident. You still have the PSD. You just import them back. As I said, the model on which way is done. I just need to add the missing layers, the shadows and extras that you told me to add on the Google Doc. Since I made a lot of rigging fixes, I was more focused on doing that. I feel like you don't like my rigging at all and just commission me because I was quote-unquote cheap to you. I can understand that. And there it says, I was not requesting a refund, just canceling the rest of the payment, as even you sent messages that it wasn't complete, and you needed to add more. The work is still lacking certain aspects that we agreed on being completed at the start of the commission. The new videos you've just sent me were never forwarded to me, and after checking the date on the video, you have only created those videos exactly 10 minutes ago, proving you first quote-unquote finished the work after I have told you I no longer wish to proceed. This model is still incomplete and is not ready to be delivered. I would appreciate it if you take down your Twitter post from 11 minutes ago, as I have stated no longer wishing to work together. The timing on that post feels wrong. I would appreciate professionalism during this time, as this is making me feel uncomfortable. I made sure to message you over VGen before proceeding to make sure it would be comfortable rigging the water, bubbles, and special effects, and those have not been delivered either. Elia says, I recorded those videos 10 minutes ago. Yes, I didn't know you pushed this and accused saying I didn't make a proper work. The model finished it yesterday. Not only because you took your time to respond. I understand you have a life too, and so do I. The faces were made yesterday with the animations. You're asking for professionalism when that's all I can offer. I won't delete the post I made on Twitter because it's my work. I have every right to share it on social media, and it's in my TOS. I'm sorry you didn't take the time to read it and say nonsense like you're saying now. I was just looking for a solution. But it seems like not only was my work and time wasted, but you're also responsible and telling lies about me. If you continue to defame me, I have to expose you on social media. I had offered to work and make arrangements, but you're irresponsible, and I won't tolerate disrespect toward me and my work. I will let Vidya know about your slander and your terrible treatment of artists. This commission is closed. I hope you think twice next time before seeking commissions where you can't afford them. And Arid says, I'm sorry I feel this way. I've tried my best to communicate my issues with the unfinished product you have sent me. Again, I'm not asking for a refund. I didn't want to waste your time and escalate the situation. But I'm more than happy to have a conversation with Vivian. I have at no point slandered you or your work. I am simply asking for the work and standards we both agreed and discussed before completing the commission. I don't appreciate being threatened that you are going to slander me on Twitter. I'm more than happy to bring this up to Vivian. And the liar says, I've already sent them an email asking them to close the case. This problem is over. The commission will be automatically closed, and I hope I never have to return it. That's how I hope you never request any type of service from me again. You will be permanently blacklisted. Arid says, I have forwarded my concerns over the work I was promised and the issues I saw within the product privately to you. I have not threatened you or your work. You, however, have threatened me directly. I am not sure if English is your first language, but yes, you said that my work is broken, that I don't meet your expectations, when in reality, we agreed on something different in the proposal. I sent you and you accepted. You mentioned that I will remove the video I uploaded on X when, in reality, it is my right. Also, since this work was a total waste and no one has paid me, the least I can do as compensations to promote me since my work hours were not paid. Broken, poorly done, or even rushed works means slander. Although it was done with the patience, I was meticulous with everything you mentioned, and yet you accuse me of doing a quick and poorly done job, even though I sent you more than 10 videos of progress. Like I told you, stop taking things so personally because you're not a threat. Stop playing the victim. I was the one here who worked more than 40 hours and didn't get paid. So for your own good, shut your mouth and stop talking nonsense. It only ruins your situation further. I have the right to defend myself if clients like you threaten my job, since I'm only legal representative of my service. I don't know if this opinion is popular or not, but as someone who does commissions, as someone who has to deal with clients, I hold artists to a higher standard than I hold clients when interacting. I can understand, I'm not saying I think it's correct, but I can understand a client losing their temper. I'm not saying I think it's correct, but I can understand it, and I think it's less bad than an artist, someone who was hired, someone who is being paid. I think it's worse if an artist loses their temper. I think it's always better to stay polite and at worst ignore it if the client is actively saying harmful things, which I'm not saying is the case here, as we have not seen the full story yet. But I hold artists to a higher standard, and they're certainly not meeting that standard here. Which, again, I'm not saying the client is fully in the right because we have not seen their side yet. That's my opinion about what we saw already. Below is the full story. First interactions on VEGen. Before I started a commission, I ensured Elia knew exactly how challenging the model would be, and stated they needed water and special effects rigging of bubbles in water in the clothes, hair, horns before the proposal was completed. During this time, she was aware of the needs of the model and sent me the price layout. She reviewed the files and was happy with the cutting and commented on how beautiful the model was. We moved the conversation to Discord very quickly, and I've already read this message. Elira said they can divide the payment in two halves, say they will revise the PSD, and the message I already sent about the PSD being well cut. Ari says, I'm so glad you love her. I will pop through the first payment, then if you're okay with working on her. I was worried I might scare you away without the bubbles, reflections, and water layers. And Elira says, I'm not going to lie, I'm scared, but it's fine. I'm very happy though. Even the render separated, I feel so happy because this will make the rig even more pretty. Ari says, I'm sorry, yes, Mama was so careful. She took a lot of care with the art. I love her so much. And Elira says, I'm having my law finals. Please be patient and sorry for delayed responses. And this is an announcement to all active clients. So Tone 1 is confirmed and Q. If I recall correctly, Elira mentioned that Eric wants things that weren't on the proposal, and the proposal is not shown. That do make me wonder, even though the conversation heavily implies that the water effect would be animated, we do not see it in the proposal, which makes me curious. Moving to Discord. Elira needed to take a break for law finals, and I was super understanding and lenient during this time. We took our conversation to Discord from this point and had a conversation about her law finals finishing. And Elira says, hello Erit, how are you doing? And Erit says, hi Elira, how did exams go? I've been well, just got back from a con. And Elira says, I approve 9 out of 10, I'm so happy. Eric says, oh, pop off, EP, that's so good. And Elira says, I'm starting soon with your model, so around this week I'll send some whips. Also, I wanted to know if you mind if I request early access to the phone to send on VGen, since I'm building something new for my PC. Eric continues. She asks for upfront 50% payment before sending any updates or whips. I asked to see at least one whip, as this made me worry about payment before seeing progress. When I was confused about sending payment with no whip, she told me, if you still feel insecure, don't worry. I went ahead and waited until the first whip before I paid $525 Australian dollars. Red says, oh, amazing, I'm super excited to see. Sorry, I'm a little confused. Did my 50% come true to you? Elira says, yes, but for some reasons, we didn't take those funds until you give me the permission to take them. Everett says, do you mind walking me through why I might need to click? I've never done this before. Does it make a difference that it was VGen payments? Elira says, yes, sure. There you go, I sent permission request to the funds. I think that appears on VGen as a question and you can deny or accept it. Irit says, I'm more than happy to send it through. Would it be okay if I send it through after your first whip? I get a little nervous with big comms. Elira says, oh yeah, sure, just in case the money is refundable. And Eric says, oh, I wasn't sure, I came up with this and said it might not be refundable. Elira says, no, I mean, this is my only job, so it's my only income. I already found commissions that I know because of health issues that I won't finish. I refund them with an extra for trouble waiting time. I got many clients, but if you still feel insecure, then don't worry. We both went to ascend the first whip this week. And Elira says, hello, Ari. The brows and the eyes are done, so I continue with the mouth and vibrator orchid. And it's the whip already seen, and the payment was sent. First payment, delays and updates. After this payment and first whip for the iRig, June 10th, I had not heard anything and messaged her again asking for how her build went. June 22, I had to persistently message her to get an update. No whip communication from June 10th to July 17th. Eric says, hey lovely, how was your debut? I was out down, I have to go back and watch the VOD. Elira says, hello Irene, how are you? Sorry for the late response, I'm having my finals now. Eric says, hi, I'm well, hope your finals all went well. How have things been with you? Any new updates? Elira says, hello Ari, I'm fine. Yes, I already finished her vibrator, but I won't be able to send it until I finish my last exam. It's this Friday. Eric says, hi Elira, I hope all your finals went well. I would love to see an update on adding vibrators to the model when you get the chance. Elira says, hello Arif, yes sure, I'll be able to send it today in some hours. I'm having dinner now. Arif says, hey Elira, just checking in, would you be able to send those updates now? Also, I feel it might be helpful if we could create a timeline plan with dates for the future updates? I understand you've been super busy with studying and finals. I'm just worried because there hasn't been many updates and the guaranteed date is meant to be 5 days. I'm really sorry if this sounds pushy, I'm just excited about it. Lara says, "Hello, Eric. How are you? Yes, I finished my law finals and now I can dedicate 100% to the commission. Today and tomorrow I'll be sending WIP." Lara says, No, I understand, don't worry. Today I was going to show this. VIP reader plus face angles, arm plus body angles. Oh, this is the timeline. I think. I'm not sure. Update. Sending updates that we've already seen. And Eric says, "Those are amazing. I love face and eye rig. I just have a couple of notes with the head angles." And Lara sends some feedback. From the dates of 17th of July to the 19th of July, Lara sent a lot of updates within a short time frame as the deadline for this commission was coming up in the following days. It's done, but it's not done. Lara will tell me the commission's finished and request payment, but then would mention a list of things that still needed to be fixed. Lara says, "Hello, Arif. I finally finished the model. I did a lot of fun physics and some extra free toggles. I still have to add some more physics, like the thing between legs, and a bit more, but as I said, everything the important things are done and the small changes should be done today." Lara says, "Some of the things you told me to fix we're still working on." And Arif says, "I did see that message. I just didn't see them in the latest finished video. I wanted to see the finished model videos before I pay and receive it, which is totally fair." And Lara says, "Hello, Eric. The model is finally complete. You have 15 toggles in total with the animated ones. Sends a video. We've already read this." And Eric says, "Hey, Lyra, I had a look over the video and there's still a lot of things that have not been fixed. Most of the things listed in my doc haven't been looked at, and if anything, there's now more things I need to add to it. Things we previously discussed and agreed on prior to starting work, such as the special effects and water rigging, hasn't been added at all. And expressions I paid to be animated are not animated. There's also still a bunch of layers missing on the model or left in the wrong places. It might be easier to cancel the commission here and to keep the first half of payment for the hard work and time we've already put in the model. I'm really sorry if this comes across as harsh. This is my first model. Like I said on VJ, I just really want every piece that my mama put in to not be overlooked or forgotten in the rigging." And the video sent, "The water has physics, but it doesn't have a default animation. The water doesn't move when the model is not moving. It only has physics." Which, yeah, I wouldn't call it complete if you two agreed on it moving. When comparing this video to the videos she posted on Twitter, they are very different, not meeting expectations. Lara said, "They are animated, and I was cutting the model to put those layers missing that I accidentally deleted. As I said, the mod on the way it's done, I just need to add the missing layers, the shadows and extra that it told me to add on the Google Doc. Since I made a lot of rigging fixed, I was more focused on doing that. I feel like you don't like my rigging at all, and just commissioned me because I was quote-unquote cheap to you. I can understand that, but the work is already done and I added a good amount of things to make it even more good so you like it. I really want to continue working with you. I recently added the shadows. I'm going to send the video again, with the shadows you told me to add and making photos for the document you sent me." Eric says, "I really would feel more comfortable if just cancel here. I don't want to waste your time, putting more work in to fix the broken missing parts. I feel like multiple times now you said it's finished, but when I reviewed the video, there is still a lot broken, and the fixes you state to have done have been made. The rig isn't finished yet as you continue working on it after you've sent the quote-unquote finished videos. This has nothing to do with not liking your rigging style. I wouldn't have commissioned you if I didn't. It boils down to the level of detail my art has and the expectations for rigging we set at the start of the commission." Lara says, "I'm sorry for not meeting your expectations. Could you please let me know what's broken in the model?" Eric says, "I'm sorry, but I've listed out the issues with the rig in the Google Doc. A lot of those issues are still present in the final finished video you've given me, and the unwilling to fix certain issues that you insist it's your style. I truly do think it's best if we part ways. Respectfully, I would like to continue with canceling the commission. At this point, fixes I was requesting were overlooked, or I was told they couldn't be fixed because it was a style choice. She told me parts of the model were missing because she accidentally deleted them. At this point, I tried to lay out the fixes I requested clearly. There were many other glaring rigging problems that were overlooked. She rushed to create and record my animated emotes that were missing from her final video. When looking at the metadata, those videos were created 10 minutes before her message, almost 3 hours after I had requested to cancel. During this time, she sent me a new Google Doc with the new fixes that were in her last video, after I requested no longer wanting to work with her. Another video? Eric says, I was not requesting a refund, just canceling the rest of the payment, as even you said in messages that it wasn't complete, and you still needed to add more. The work is still lacking certain aspects that we agreed on being completed at the start of the commission. The new videos you sent me were never forwarded to me, and after checking the data on the video, have only created those videos exactly 10 minutes ago, proving a rush to finish the work, and I have told you I no longer wish to proceed. This model is still incomplete and is not ready to be delivered. I would appreciate if you take down your Twitter post from 11 minutes ago, as I have stated no longer wishing to work together. The timing on that post feels wrong. I would appreciate professionalism during the time, as this is making me feel uncomfortable. I made sure to message you over VGen before proceeding to make sure you would be comfortable rigging the water, bubbles, and special effects, and those have not been delivered yet. Elara says, I recorded those videos 10 minutes ago. Yes, I didn't know you will push this and accuse saying I didn't make a proper work. The model I finished it yesterday, not only because you took your time to respond. I understand you have a life too, and so do I. The fixes were made yesterday with the animations. You're asking me for professionalism when that's all I can offer. I won't delete the post I made on Twitter because it's my work. I have every right to share it on social media, and it's in my TOS. I'm sorry I didn't take time to read it and say nonsense like you're saying now. I was just looking for a solution, but it seemed like not only was my work and time wasted, but you're also irresponsible and telling lies about me. If you continue to defame me, I'll have to expose you on social media. By the way, you never paid for the extra water. I mention this because not only did I have the courtesy to add things for free, but now telling me it's mandatory. This is the proposal you accepted. It doesn't mention it. Why are animations like your proposal extras because your animation? Okay, I see the problem now. This whole time, Eric thinks the water effects were included, as it was the first discussion they had with Lyra. But Lyra never meant to include water animations, it seems, which is a huge miscommunication. It shouldn't have happened. Eric communicated what they wanted. Lyra's the one who didn't communicate. They weren't willing to do it. Eric continues. Threats. After insisting that the arrangement wasn't working, I suggest for her to keep the first half of payment for her hard work. She begins to threaten me and become extremely nasty and hostile, saying things like, I had offered to work and make arrangements. We are irresponsible, and I won't tolerate disrespect towards me and my work. I'll let VGen know about your slander and your terrible treatment of artists. This commission is closed. I hope you think twice next time before seeking commissions where we can't afford them. Eric says, I'm sorry you feel this way. I've tried my best to communicate my issues with the unfinished product you have sent me. Again, I'm not asking for a refund. I didn't want to waste your time and escalate the situation, but I'm more than happy to have a conversation with VGen. I have at no point slandered you or your work. I'm simply asking for the work and standard we both agreed and discussed before completing this commission. I don't appreciate being threatened that you are going to slander me on Twitter. I am more than happy to bring this up to VGen. Elara says, I've already sent them an email asking them to close the case. This problem is over. The commission will be automatically closed, and I hope I never have to return it. That's how I hope you never request any type of service from me again. You will be permanently blacklisted. By the way, I have the right to defend myself if clients like you threaten my job, since I'm the only legal representative of my services. Aaron says, at no point in any of my messages have I threatened your job or been anything but kind. Elia says, you said I rushed. Broken job. What do you think that means? Or you don't have control of your own words. Aaron says, I have forwarded my concerns over the work I was promised, and the issues as well with the product privately to you. I have not threatened you or your work. You, however, have threatened me directly. Elaria says, I'm not sure if English is our first language, but yes, you said my work is broken, that I don't meet your expectations, when in reality, you agreed on something different than the proposal I sent you, and you accepted. You mentioned that I will remove the video I uploaded on X. when in reality it's my right. Also, since this work was a total waste and no one has paid me, the least I can do as compensation is to promote me since my work hours were not paid. Broken, poorly done, or even rushed means slander. Although this was done with patience, I was meticulous with everything I mentioned, and yet you accused me of doing a quick and poorly done job, even though I sent you more than 10 videos with progress. Like I told you, stop taking things so personally because you're not a threat. Stop playing the victim. I was the one here who worked more than 40 hours and didn't get paid. So if you're your own good, shut your mouth and stop talking nonsense. It only ruins your situation further. I have the right to defend myself if clients like you try on my job, since I'm the only legal representative of my service. If you think it is a threat that I exposed your behavior on social media, it's because you effectively know that what you did was wrong, extremely irresponsible. You know the mistakes you made, and they were meant to cause harm, something I will not tolerate. Eric says, I tried messaging you about the situation within the model, and never gave a proper comment about your work. The model is still incomplete and has issues that were not fixed in your final video. I tried messaging you about the issue within the model and never gave a poor comment about your work. The model is still incomplete and has issues that were not fixed in your final video. I only requested canceling the final payment as it was not finished or worked out. The 10 progress videos were sent after your quote-unquote final video telling me it was done. The only reason I asked if you could take down the post was because it was made in the middle of the discussion. It feels malicious to post it and tag my art mama. It feels silly to post an update for work you are no longer associated with or working on. Delaire says, what is missing? You keep saying it poorly done, rushed, or broken. I sent you our videos compared to the Google Doc fixes you told me. Tell me what's still wrong. Well, it feels more silly to not pay for an entire work. You have no rights on my rigging anymore. Means I can still post anything I want with the model quote-unquote rigging I made. Eric continued, posting a new whip as I had attempted to cancel. During the discussion/argument, Lara posted new unseen whips to Twitter. I kindly asked her to remove them as I no longer wished to continue and it was trying to tag my art mama, but she declined, sending her TOS for our conversation. As of now, she has changed her TOS to say you can't refund settlements or partial payments on the same day directly after our conversation. Our last Discord message was at 9:20 July 23. After doc, Elara has now dropped a doc with no screenshot. I was not delivered the files. I insisted she could keep half for her hard work. She insisted she doesn't want trouble, but leaves a comment tagging my account. Thanks for reading this far. I wanted to resolve this amicably and privately, but my name, brand, and model are being dragged negatively onto Twitter. This has all been extremely stressful, and this is my first model/debut. Be kind always. I appreciate your time and consideration. I legit can tell if they were initially willing to do the animation and then backed off due to not having enough time, or if it was just never disclosed that it was not included because Arif was clearly expecting the animation. I don't know what are the other issues for the model to be considered broken other than the animations. The animations definitely. And the story went on. More people made statements and Google Docs about Elire Studios. A VTuber that goes by Elise VTuber made a Twitter post saying, "You are not alone in this," shedding light on my own experience with Elire Studios and their own Google Doc. It reads, following another personal experience with Elire Studios, I like the rigor and I feel brave enough to detail my own experience as a client. I do not believe in harassment. This is not the purpose of this document. However, I feel that Elire's attitude and process will not improve until her behavior is brought to light. While not as costly or as lengthy as others' experiences, I still feel that it's important. Context. My experience with Elira, like others, was not pleasant due to communication problems. Uncommunicated exclusion of toggles and hostility, which are the same things we saw in the other document. Around April 2025, Elira was having a sale on her live 3D model commissions, bringing my total price to 121 euros, around 150 USD. This service was not a scab service, which means that it has true communication. It's not like a surprise me or something like that. In my request request, I had included a clear, informative document saying the toggles and add-ons I would like. Under the impression that she had acknowledged and understood what I was asking for, she sent me a proposal. After that, this is where the trouble began. My experience. We can see the message that Elise sent. It says, "Hi, thank you for working with me. Please read this document. It has all the necessary information as well as some character information." And the document, the model PSD, the model artist, and says, "I do not need to purchase a Lib2D file for now. Thank you so much." The proposal, which says, "Thank you so much for choosing me. The total of the commission is 150 USD. Please send the model PSD to the email. This commission will only come with 150 USD normal rigging tier." And Elise says, "I feel did not make it clear enough that the toggles will not be included." And then they continue the communication. Elise says, "Thank you for accepting my request. I am so excited. Do you have a date for when we will start working on it?" And Lara says, "I'll start working on it on 1st of May or before." And Elise says, "Okay, take as much time as you need. Thank you for letting me know." And definitely, if something was not being taken into consideration, it was not communicated. On April 10th, I asked Lyra when to expect updates / when she would start working, to which she said the 1st of May, which was not followed up with. I then asked if she had updates, and the answer was just essentially no. At this point, a month later than the agreed upon start date, I felt like a burden if I were to keep asking and asking. So I asked if she had a commission queue, as her VGM profile did not have a visible queue list. And Elise says, "Hello, do you have any updates?" And Lyra says, "Hello, Elise. I don't have updates yet." And Elise says, "That's okay. I was wondering if you had a commission queue that clients can keep track of if they have other orders ahead of theirs. It's just that it's been a month since the 1st of May and I don't want to keep bothering you." That message received no response for 9 days, so I reached out on Twitter. And Elise says, "Hello, you haven't seen my video in DM yet from 9 days ago, so I'm messaging here. I hope that's okay. I was wondering if you have a commission queue, as it's been over a month since the discussed start date. I would prefer to have an idea of how many orders are ahead of mine instead of being met with silence. I'm very excited for the rigging to start and I'm very hopeful. So being met with silence feels a little bit unprofessional. I hope that's understandable. Thank you again." And the Lyra says, "Hello, Elise. How are you? I'm sorry I couldn't answer you on VGN. I had law exams and I have been feeling so tired. I worked on your model some weeks before I got my last exam. I got it on 2nd of June. I'm going to have dinner now and then I'll send you the video with. About the tracking to commissions. I'm not sure. I don't have a Trello." And the list says, "Hello, no worries. I hope the exams went well. If you use VGen to track commissions, there's a setting to set it to public. Other people will not be able to see the client's name or anything, so it's all protected. Thank you for the update. Sorry if I sounded rude." And shows the option. After the short exchange, teaching her how to add her VGen queue to her profile, she sent me the first video update of just the eyes and some toggles, which I was happy with. She also informed me she had added 2 free toggles as well as free VBridger, which confused me as I thought they were already factored into the price. But I thought that she had perhaps removed that cost from the proposal on purpose. Not that she hadn't considered my requirements on the document I had sent her in the proposal. Through this experience, I was under the impression that she knew I'd wanted VBridger and all of my model's toggles rigged onto the model. I sent her a message checking up on June 24th, to which Lyra took 17 days to respond to. She told me that in just 3 days my model would be ready, but I hadn't received a single update after reading since the month prior. Elise says, "Hello, just checking in. How are things?" And Lyra says, "Hello, Elise. I have been with law exams this week. I give the announcement on my VGen. Sorry for the late reply. You should get your model ready to use this Monday, 14th of July. I guess I would prefer to see a demonstration of how the rigging looked before receiving the model," to which she agreed, once again mentioning the free toggles and free VBridger. Elise says, "May I see a demonstration of the rig so far before receiving it? I was only sent one video from you through this, and I'd prefer to be able to check first." And Lyra says, "Yeah, sure. Sorry for the late reply. Yesterday I was feeling very ill. Here, I also added those free toggles and free VBridger parameters." She sent me a video update. We not only did not demonstrate the free VBridger, only regular malforms, but I also noticed a lack of arm toggles discussed in my request. Elise sends the file, and Elise says, "This is so cute, oh my god. Have the arm toggles also been rigged?" And Elara says, well, the commission only comes with this. However, you can pay for add-ons. And Elise says, oh, I thought it seemed a little low at the time, that's why. No problem, I can pay for the add-ons. I think the original document was lost, but I can write a list of the add-ons. And Elara says, yes, please. Which, to me, is incredibly unprofessional, because one thing is if all the specifications are sent on DMs and stuff happens and you can lose them, you can just ask again, but straight up ignoring them, that not only feels unprofessional, it also feels a little rude. To this, Elara sent me a picture of her proposal, and only then making it clear that it meant that no extra toggles were included from the beginning. I happily complied, talking it down that I'm probably just a little dumb and should have understood. After thinking my original document got lost, I did in fact find it, and sent a new request on her Live2D add-on service. Elara says, also please send requests on add-ons on my VGen. And Elise says, okay, done. There's a checklist on the document that you can check the boxes on if it's helpful. My VGen review plus Elara's facility. After the exchange above, Elara completed the final delivery of the model on VGen, to which I published a detailed 4-star review. Documents are due to poor communication, and the review says, VGen asks you to be honest in review, so I will. This was my experience working with Elara. Short version, professionalism 4 out of 5, communication 3 out of 5, picture/video updates 2 out of 5, attention to detail 4 out of 5, result 5 out of 5. In conclusion, 4 out of 5. Long version. First, some clarification. Elara has been busy with flaw finals at this time, so I completely understand a lot of the deadline pushbacks. I don't fault her for that. This review is mostly positive, so this isn't coming from a place of dissatisfaction whatsoever. I highly recommend working with her. Elara is a really sweet, wonderful person, and the only things I had issues with were the communication and lack of updates. Through the commission, promised deadlines were pushed back often, mostly due to school though, so it's okay and understandable. Through the commission, I had only received 2 evidences updates with media accompanied with them, and the service is not a scab service. That made me worry. The first of these updates was at the very start of the commission, with eye movement and some face toggles. The second and last one was when Elara said the rigging was finished, to which I said I prefer to have a video demonstration Live2D so I could check it over first. I do feel that more video evidence alongside updates would have improved the experience for me, and that in the best case scenario, because this wasn't a scab, I should receive these without the need to ask, but it's up to preference then. As well as this, I had Elara in my request to read the document to aid her in the reading, including the extra add-ons and toggles my model had. I was under the impression that she had read it and factored it into the proposal, only to find out late stage that these toggles were not included in the rig, nor added to the base price, which did confuse me. The absence of these toggles was not communicated to me when I received my proposal, other than this commission only includes normal tier rig, which I now feel was not as clear as it should have been, and adding this commission will not include more than X toggles. But again, it's just a minor communication slip-up. I don't agree it's a minor slip-up, but continuing. Those were the only issues I encountered while working with Elara. They are absolutely just oversights that can easily be improved on with time and practice, but I do feel that it's important to mention them so that Elara and maybe other creative people reading can improve their communication practice. Overall, the issues did not affect the result for me, only the experience. The result was a lovely, smooth rig that captured my character with lovely, bouncy, and fluid movement, and I would absolutely work with Elara again, now knowing her communication style. Conclusion: 4 out of 5. I definitely recommend working with Elara. When writing this review, I gave Elara every benefit of doubt possible, and I had no reason to give a review that was entirely negative, as every aspect other than communication was fine, which I made clear at the start of my review. Elara was not happy at all, and Elara says on Twitter, "Excuse me, after seeing the VGen review, I choose to not work with the model anymore. I understand there are things I don't like the communication, but honestly, this is unfair. A 4-star rating means it's a job poorly done, when in reality, I myself offered to give you 2 free toggles and a set of VIP reader to compensate for the limited time I had due to the bar exams I took at university. I did a complete rigging for 150 USD. That money literally meant nothing to me, and I did it more out of love for my job. For that very reason, I would rather you and I never work together again in the future. I can't meet your basic needs, and I don't agree with yours. Elyra was very upset with the review I gave her, and held the opinion that it was unfair for me to leave 4 stars out of 5 due to the communication becoming hostile. I tried to apologize and contacted VJ to change my review to 5 stars, as Elyra had made me feel incredibly guilty that I wasn't the wrong, to which VJ and staff agreed. My review was changed to 5 stars. However, there's a note at the bottom explaining that it had been changed per mine and Elyra's wishes. That's so wrong. Elyra's vague document. Soon after this, she made her own document, saying that she had been mistreated and that she was tired, garnering a lot of attention. The document Elyra made reads, I've been feeling so incredibly heavy. I work as a life to rigger, something I used to dream about when I was little. I wanted to bring characters to life, to see drawings move and breathe and smile because of something I did. It was never about money, it was about love, about passion, about chasing a dream, of animation that's lived in my heart since I was a child. That dream is still there, but I'm tired. So tired. I offer my riggings at very low prices. I know I could charge more, but I don't, because I want people to have access to good work, to feel proud of their models, even if they don't have a big budget. I often add little extras for free, expressions, physics tricks, quality passes, just because I care. I want my clients to feel loved and excited about their VTuber journey, but it feels like no matter how much I give, I get torn apart anyway. Bad comments, harsh critiques, cold reviews that ignore all the heart I put into every piece. Like I'm just a machine, something to use, judge, and discard. I finish entire rigs the shortest time possible, and I always try to go above and beyond, not because I have to, but because I want to. And still I get treated like I'm not enough, like my best doesn't matter, like I don't matter. It hurts. It really, really hurts. This isn't just a job to me, it's something sacred. It's my art, my love, my heart, and lately, it feels like people just crush it without a second thought. It's not okay right now. I'm exhausted, burned out, and honestly, heartbroken. I don't want applause or attention. I just want people to see that behind every rig, there's a human being who's trying her absolute best, who's doing this out of love, who's barely holding on. Just please be kind. That's all I ask. I'm sorry you're feeling down. I'm sorry you're feeling like that, but is that all because of a 4-star review? I've had reviews I consider unfair before. 4 stars not that bad. It's fine. The person loved the rig. That feels like a little too much. However, there was one person that read my review and wasn't buying the story, to which Elyra became very hostile under this person's reply. But the information she gave does not match my commission or review, so I believe she's talking about another incident she had. And the comment says, I checked out your VJ and the only non-5-star review was rated very kindly. It sounds like their deadline was missed multiple times. Yes, people need to realize artists are human, but some artists also need to realize they're running a business and taking people's money. And Elyra says, fucking no. You assume things without knowing. If I ever miss deadlines on VGen, I refund them without even asking. That commission had delivery through September and I did it way earlier. Fucking added a ton of free things and never missed anything. Again, they're going on their rude route after things don't go their way. Changing my review to 5 stars to avoid conflict. And Elyra says, I'm sorry that you feel that way. I can request VGen to let me change my review, if that makes it okay. I really didn't mean to hurt your feelings. And then later, hi, I would just want to say I understand your frustration. Is there any way I could pay the extra amount through VGen's boost feature for the Mach 3 file, so that you don't have to work with me again? Thank you again. I'm sorry for the trouble caused and the hurt feelings. And then they messaged again on VGen the next day. Hello, I have contacted VGen to submit a request to change my review. Thank you. The review is 5 stars, and which Elyra answers, leaving heart emojis. After this, Elyra changed her entire tune, revealing that she only got angry because she was on thin ice with VGen, and further victimizing herself from my review and also VGen's concerns. Elyra says, hello Elise, that's fine, I understand. I don't know if you still prefer to work with me or just want the CMO3 file. I'll be waiting for your response and thanks for understanding me. The frustration comes that I already had a lot of disputes with VGen. They won't recommend me anymore if I got 4-star reviews, since I already have some. They think I don't have the standards that they want want me to have, and that makes me feel horrible. They're really playing the emotional card. Ellie says, I'm really, really sorry. Never meant to cause you hurt. I'd still love to work with you if that's okay. You're really talented and I love your work. I never thought otherwise. And Delaire says, I have some rest now. I'll contact you again to discuss the proposal, amount of tokens and changes. I also ask you about payment milestones if it's necessary. And the list says, I'm okay to pay in full. I'm glad we could work this out. Please have a good rest. This is so wrong. I get having a problem and having to communicate that problem to the client to justify having to postpone the delivery date, but this just feels like emotional manipulation. Not gonna lie. Half-rate vBridger. After changing the review, I tested my model, only to find that vBridger was missing a lot of its parameters. I resent Elira an add-on request, now including the need to fix its issues. The video of this can be found here. This request was moved to Elira's waitlist, but no proposal had been sent yet. And it reads, Hello, I would like the extra toggles added as well as some vBridger parameters fixed. Missing vBridger parameters and a list of the parameters missing, I will say those some of those aren't vBridger. The brow forms are just regular rigging, which feels weird. And jaw open, press lip open, mouth funnel, mouth shrug. That's pretty much all vBridger missing. That's not some parameters missing. That's almost all vBridger missing. Damn. Update videos plus conversation scroll through. For density and extra information, I recorded a scroll through of our entire text conversations on Twitter and VGen. From my understanding, Twitter nor VGen let you delete messages anyway. Present day / after seeing another document on Elira. After reading a little with no proposal yet, I came across another user's document on Elira. After reading it, I realized I wasn't alone in my experience, and that I definitely no longer wanted to work with her. I canceled my add-on request and asked for the Mach 3 file, Live2D working file, instead to take to another rigger. The exchange was polite. All the while Elira had been posting screenshots from the other person's doc out of context and being hostile. The Mach 3 costed around $108 USD, 70% of the whole project in current rates, to buy on top of this experience, costing me around $258 USD for a model with half-rigged vBridger and little input, should I have wanted any changes. I waited until purchasing the Mach 3 before shedding light on my experience, as I know I would be left with no way to fix this model if I didn't. Thank you for reading. As I said in my original review, I hope that Elira uses this experience, as well as VGen's warning to her, to reflect and improve her process as an artist taking commissions. Ellen says, Hi Elira, I wanted to let you know that I have changed my mind and would rather pay extra for a model CMO3 file instead. And Elira says, Hello Elise, I'm a bit confused. The process of buying the CMO3 file. This already seems bad enough with 2 people posting documents, but 2 more people posted a document. I would like to share some very important information about Elira Studio. It has been the worst experience I have ever had in my life, and I want you to know that she has gone through a lot of rebranding so she can keep lying to this community. And their document reads Bella Studio / Jester Hacks / Elira Hisora Exposing. Our experience with Elira Studio. Context. We'd like to start this talk by saying that we don't condone any type of harassment. Please refrain from insulting Elira. She was wrong, but that doesn't mean she should receive threats. We just wish to make her actions public, but no amount of wrongdoings will justify treating other person like crap. We've seen this type of behavior repeated over and over since we first met Elira back in April 2024. She's been called out before, but she'll erase everything and rebrand, starting the cycle once again. There has been enough damage done already. Let's put an end to this. We will try to make this document easy to understand as possible, since most of the screenshots are in Spanish, both ours and Elira's first language. We share a Google translated version so everyone can follow along. We'll also link a folder with the original screenshots in Spanish for transparency. We don't have the full conversation anymore, and it's been over a year since it happened, but we'll try to include as many screenshots as we can. This is an expose of Bella Studio 0, Bella's Coffee 0, Bella ASMR, Maoko Shift, Reiko Miwa, Sienna Puppy, Dexter Hex, Luma Paro, Rua Reona, Elira Hisora, and Elira Studio, which are Elira past names. We'll call her a liar through the entire doc to make things easier. Kirill, Kiregas Art, and I, PPW, previously PP La Philosopher, had 2 interactions with Elira. The first one in April 2024, and the last one in August 2024. Back in April, Kirill had commissioned Elira for a VTuber model plus rate. She was the only one to talk to Elira, and I only joined when the situation escalated and VGN admins got involved. Since Kara was feeling really anxious and was having a hard time expressing herself in English. The first part of the doc will be purely from her perspective. April 2024, a commission for a VTuber model plus rate. Back in April, Elira did not only offer rating commissions, but also model art commission. I had just joined the VTuber community, and I was looking for someone to bring my character to life. I saw one of her posts. Elira was opening emergency commissions to cover medical expenses for a family member. Her art looked very beautiful, so I went to her DMs to ask her about the prices. I knew everything I wanted for my model, and I told her everything in advance. I wanted the model, a second version with a different color palette, 5 expressions, and a pet toggle. Everything came together for 200 USD, which admittedly is really cheap. But right after telling me the price, she also asked if I wanted to tip her to cover PayPal and VGN's percentage commission. I wasn't against it, but I wanted to wait until after the model was finished. Since at the time, I was really tight on money. Kira says, the only thing is the colors as always. And Lara says, okay, it would be a total of 200 USD. PayPal takes 11.73% in commission and VGN takes 10 USD. They always keep 5%. I don't know if you would like to contribute something else to cover them. If not, is that okay? And Kira says, what do you mean 12 USD? And Elijah says the total taxes I have to pay, which PayPal and VGN charge me, are 22.73 USD, I assume. That's why I wanted to know if you would like to contribute something else. If not, is that okay? And Carol says, I wouldn't mind contributing once work is finished, and if I can, but right now I have just enough money for the entire model. And then the proposal says it will take approximately 1 week to a month. I really think it's a very nice design. I have the knowledge to do it in the best possible way. I'll be willing to make the amount of changes you think are necessary. She told me it would take a week or 2 to finish the model. Fortunately, I didn't have a date limit, and she told me the model would be finished mid-March. Since she was working on 2 other models, but that I could pay a rush fee if I wanted it done sooner. Mid-March worked well for me, so I said no rush fee. And Bella Studio, aka Lara Studio, says, it usually takes me 2 weeks for art and rating. And Kiro says, hello, I'd like to be within a couple of months if possible. Delara says, this month I will be finishing 2 VTuber models, so it should be finished by mid-May. I'll make the sketch as soon as possible because I have several styles and I'm willing to do various ones as long as you like them. And Kiro says, oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Bella. I'm looking forward to working with you. I hope I can also help with your brother's case. And which they say, thank you so much. Later on, I asked her if mid-May could be the final delivery day instead of an exclamation, and she told me that if I wanted to have the model on an earlier date, then I could pay a rush fee. I made clear that I didn't want her to make my model a priority, but just to make the original date, she told me the final delivery date, and she became defensive. All things considered, she assured me that the model would indeed be ready mid-May. Kirill says, good afternoon, Bella. I wanted to tell you that I now have a date by which I want the VTuber model to be ready, if possible. I know I didn't give you one, and you told me it would be ready by mid-May. Just in case, I want to set the date so it's done. I already have everything I need for the debut, and the only thing I'm missing is the VTuber. I want to make sure it will be ready by mid-May. And Lara says, good morning. How are you? The date is now firm, and there's still a rough estimate of what could be delivered. Of course, it could be delivered earlier. I have 2 commissions before yours, yet I try to advance them out equally. If you'd like our commission completed as soon as possible, give you full priority, it would have an extra cost because I've been leaving behind the commissions I worked before yours. I think that would be called a rush fee, right? And Kirill says, yeah, it would be a rush fee, but what I'd like to confirm is that it's due by the day you told me because there are a couple of weeks left and don't know your work rate. And as you say, you have 2 commissions ahead of me, which is why I'm a little worried. And Elara says, are you suspicious that I didn't deliver the commission to you? There was only one time when I didn't deliver a commission on time. It was when my brother was run over and the girl treated me badly because of it. I felt very uncomfortable when returning her money. And that was it in this case. If she doesn't deliver the commission to you by that date, you would be refunded 100%. I'm honestly not that kind of person because I take this thing seriously. The VTuber arts take me 3 days in the rigging too, but as I said, there are 2 how-tos before yours. I don't mind paying the rush fee after all the clients I've had. It's the first time they distrusted me like this. And here comes the emotional stuff again. And Kiro says, don't worry, I haven't said or insinuated anything about you not giving me the commission. And Elara says, sorry, I assumed that because you said you were worried. Kiro says, I wanted to confirm since I told you I was in a hurry. That it could be ready by mid-May since I have everything ready. Elara says, It's the agreed date. Kiro says, I know, but Vivian says June 2nd as deadline, so I came to ask you. I didn't mean to offend you or anything, I just came to ask you a question. And Elara says, oh, I got confused then. I thought the deadline was May 1st. And I wasn't offended, don't worry. Kiro says, that's why I wanted to come ask you. If that's the case, I will be calm. And Elara says, hi, sorry girl, I was reading the chat again and realized I made a mistake, but did something I say bother you? I'll be back to something real quick. They said the art to extend 3 days and they're reading 2. And that's extremely crazy timing. Like, it's really hard to do really good quality work in such a tight time frame because you will either be getting extremely burned out or it will be a poor quality. It will hardly ever be something really good if you're rushing it that much, which would already be a red flag to me. Continue. Elara told me that she would adapt to any art style I wanted, so I asked her if she could use the art style of Wild Studio as a reference, and she said yes. And there's the reference, the artist. The first issue we had was the color palette. She was having trouble getting the colors of my OC right. I gave her feedback at the start. When I saw she was still having trouble, I suggested she could color pick for a reference. Rebel says, hey Bella, by the way, you still need to render the eyes, right? I noticed that in the whip you sent me, it has the old eyes, not the color you changed them to previously. And Elara says, old eyes? And Carol sends 2 images that say they are different. And Elara says, I just made the pupil smaller. And Carol says, oh, I see, but the color is different, right? It's less saturated. And looking at those, yeah, they're definitely a different color. And Elara says, of course, one is force, the other is soft. And Kirill says, I like the saturated one better. It looks better on my character's eyes. And Elara says, okay. Kirill says, thanks, Bella. I know you're not entirely convinced, but I like it better this way. And Elara says, no, it looks better this way. What I don't like is the knees. Oh, and one thing before I go to sleep, could you send me the whips in a file other than a JPEG? It looks very pixelated and I can barely see the render. Even if it's a screenshot and you put your watermark on it, I just can't see the render of the whips properly. And continues. Part of the issue was that she was sharing screenshots of the model, but the screenshots had really low quality and I believe that affected how the colors looked. She also made changes to later go back on them, making the issue much bigger than it should have been. And they're communicating on that, they're making notes. And Miss Lee having to explain the difference between hue and saturation and having the same issue with the colors over and over started worrying me a little, since I considered that this would be basic knowledge for an artist. I could see Lyra getting insecure as well, and that made me feel like giving her feedback was a bad fit. We genuinely weren't working well together, and she told me she would rather cancel the commission. Know that Lyra is the one that asked for a cancellation, saying she would refund me, but she wanted to refund the wrong quantity. And Lyra says, after much thought, I would not continue with the commission. To be honest, you didn't like my work or my style. You were correcting me through the commission, and that made it take a long time. If you really didn't like my work, I don't understand why you would ask for it. I tried to follow the reference as is, but I feel pretty bad through the entire commission. Kirara gets the went by Elisa back then says, okay, that's fine with me since we're both not comfortable. It's better not to drag it out since you have the art done. Give me the art and I'll commission someone else for the rig. That would be 70 USD that would have to return to me. Also says, if I didn't like anything of yours, I wouldn't have commissioned you. I corrected anatomy and things that weren't referenced I gave you. Things that were missing or colors that weren't right. I also haven't felt comfortable having to correct and highlight the same things all the time. So you change them and sing them again 2 weeks later. Elara says, don't worry, I'll give you a refund, but you've paid me $178. And Kirill says, are you going to give me the art after you finished it? And Lara says, okay. I was feeling secure, but if you still want it. And I'll be honest here, I've had picky clients before. It's harder to work with them, but it's not impossible. And I believe that if you're the artist, you have to be prepared for people who know exactly what they want. It's not the most common scenario, but it happens. You need to be prepared for that. Continuing. The next day she changed the narrative completely, saying that I've accepted her TOS, which didn't include refunds, and that since the model was already finished and she was rating it, she would just give it to me. Not that she quote-unquote finished the model that night and started rating it without saying anything to me, so I didn't see the finished model and only had her word for it. Seeing how many changes were left to be fixed, I believe the model was still finished at this point in time. But I can't be sure since you never showed me. And they're saying, I don't accept refunds as I've started work. I'm reading my model, so I'll just deliver it to you. It has the cat and the color change you asked. While this was happening, Lyra was talking shit behind my back on her public server. I follow her on Twitch, so one day I just joined the server for fun and saw everything. She also opened a case on VGen without telling me, which I soon discovered when I opened a case of her too. And Lara says, she has asked me several times to re-render the eye. I rendered them 5 times, the hair 3 times, and she makes changes all the time, even when we have already agreed on something. As far as I know, they only wanted to change the saturation or the color. You can just mess with the hue and the saturation for that. You don't have to render it all over again. And someone says, damn, I think she should charge more for asking her to change things. If it were 1 or 2, it would be fine. And she wants her model to have this style, to follow the same patterns. When someone says, but since many people are asking for it, I should put a stop to it. And the letter says, this is the 5th change they asked me for. And to top it off, the latest delivery date is June 1st, but she demanded that I deliver it by the middle of May. But you're the one who said you would be done by mid-May. And the message, go on. Not only was this incredibly rude, but the Discord account I used back then had my real name, which at the time wasn't public. She made my name public behind my back and later claimed that sharing private DMs and my first name was completely fine. The screenshot was taken in August, the second time I had an issue with Lyra. Continuing. The case ended with a partial refund and I received a PSD file so another artist could break it and fix the mistakes left in the model, while agreeing on not posting a review on any site should not damage or reach. July 2024, tracing accusations. To give context to what happened in July, when Curel received the PSD file back in June to notice that a lot of layers looked half done, the render wasn't finished in some places that would be visible with the rig, and some details were still missing. I won't comment on the quality since the model was riggable, and for a $120 USD model, you can't ask for much more. The quality was still below what was promised, but with a whole dispute open, it was to be expected. I don't fault a liar for that. Curel wanted an upgrade on the model to change the render, redraw some layers, and make more detailed cuts, and add the missing details. And I offered myself to help her out. It was my first time doing a VTuber model, even if only partially, so I tried my best to match Curel's vision on the model. In the end, I redrew 80-85% of the model. The idea was to make the changes and have both Lyra and I credited as the artist, but that's when we had our second issue with her. I had just finished the model and Curel shared a cut screenshot as a teaser tagging me, and Lyra asked to talk to her in private. She told her that the model shown the teaser wasn't the one she had made, since most of it had been redrawn, but that she would be credited in the showcase since some of the model was still drawn by her. She then jumped straight into accusing me of tracing her model when she hadn't even seen it. The part that showed the teaser was redrawn, so it could be in a new model altogether at this point. There was no way she could tell. Alana says, I don't want any problems, but give me the corresponding credit. You have to put me as the artist, and I don't know who the secondary editor of the model is, but they belong to me. Pepe says, I'll give them to you when I officially upload the VTuber, not a teaser, and I'll give it to you from the parts I use because that's not your model. We had to make a different model because yours can't be used. The eye parts aren't even separated. It had no symmetry in almost all the parts. The hands aren't made, and there are no back parts of the clothes, for example. There are parts I use like the base of the face, eyelashes, and ears, and I'll give the credit for those specific parts. But I'm not going to use your model. It's not BB, it's Carol, sorry. But I'm not going to use your model. The one I'm going to use is the one I'm making with my friend. And Elara says, wait, are you telling me you commissioned me? You made a huge mess just to trace my art? You know that's punishable, Carol. Here's how her model looked, and how the one I worked on does. It was clearly not traced, but I understand she might have been angry after what happened back in June. And I understand she felt frustrated she did not remake the model after all the trouble. That does not warrant neither the accusation nor the way she talked to us after we tried to explain it to her. Both models still look very similar, which is to be expected when both Elara and I reference the same style and use it to draw the same character. And since several layers were still drawn by Elara, I couldn't find a picture of the model with all the parts, but you can see very clearly here that most of the structure was remade. But some parts like the lashes and the ears are still the same. And both are very beautiful, but also very different. Those are not the same model. Kira later on decided to replace all the parts made by Elara. They were redrawn and the showcase was made. She asked to talk to both of us after posting the showcase, and this is the conversation we had. It says, "Hi Bella, imagine you wanted to talk to me about the VTuber problem, so I've opened up a DM with my artist within the group in case you still have questions. As we told you, the model is no longer yours. Your art has not been used to make it, since we did everything from scratch, so you can rest easy. Has something else happened?" Elara says that the problem is still the same. The canvas is exactly the same, only saturated the colors. When you promised me via DM that you wouldn't use my model for the new one, and I said mine because I only transferred the string rights to you. And then Pipi says, "Hello Bella, I'm Pipi, the model artist. As Kira already told you, the model was made by me, since zero. The face isn't the same, although it's similar. Since the style references you sent me are the same ones she sent you, you can tell if you look at the eyes, for example. And the eyes are completely different. Those are the model's great eyes, and these are the ones you made for yours. It's clearly similar, but the reference we used were the same. Those are White Studios models, but the model is not the same. I have all the layers separated and numbered. If you still have questions, I'd be happy to record a video for you turning off the face layers one by one. I understand that there may have been some confusion. Initially, parts of your model that Kuro asked me to keep were used, but after we talked last time, I replaced them myself one by one. The last thing I want is for you to feel bad because your work is used incorrectly. Just tell me about the parts you have doubts about, and I'll show the layers properly." Elara says, "Come on, honey, you don't know how to draw like that, and you don't have that style." But they were requested to do that style. She was very hostile from the very start. I'm aware that situation was very convoluted, but she was informed about everything we did, and we removed her layers the moment she told us to. Yes, even after that, the placement of things like the eyes or ears were the same, since they originally used her layers. I think this much is understandable. The models fit, and some of the placements are the same, but that alone doesn't mean it was traced. Elara is saying they want to see the time-lapse, and they're commenting on the rude comment that Elara made on Pipi not knowing how to draw like that. And they're saying Elara gave permission to them to edit the model, and they're debating that, and they're debating whether it's traced or not. I'll be honest, I feel like making it above another model, even if it's not traced, you will eventually end up looking a little too close to comfort, in my opinion. If you're going to redraw it, it would be better to not use the previous one under it, but that's just my opinion. The situation escalated, and we talked with Fiji and me to clear things out. This was the resolution we reached after sharing clips of the model I worked on, and considered the issue solved until August 2nd, when a call was made to expose me as a tracer, and it says the VGen person saying it was not traced. Before sharing the call out, I want to make clear that I don't have a time lapse to show. I work with Paint to Side, which doesn't record time lapses. I would very happily share it if I could, but it simply does not exist. I also admit that, were this to happen today, I would suggest making model from scratch instead of working over layers files. I believe my lack of experience working on VTubers didn't think working over someone else's model would be a bad idea, but I now see that it was very disrespectful on my part to do that. I take full responsibility over my mistake, but it still doesn't justify her here accusing me of tracing. I also want to point out that the call was specifically made on August 2nd, which is Carol's birthday. Seeing how Lara waited several weeks since we closed the case on VGen until she posted the call-out, I'm inclined to believe that this was done on purpose. The call was made with bad intention. Here's the call-out. It's showing the call-out. She exposed her point and then proceeded to insult VGen admin for the resolution, and both Kira and I, she specifically focused on the fact that she's a better artist than we are, so the model had to be traced, since we didn't have enough skill to draw like that. And showing out the crazy mess that was the Twitter arguments. Her comments were really nasty all the way through. We were really angry and ended up saying very nasty things as well. A third case was opened on VGen and then we reached this resolution. And Manja herself was involved. Damn. And it reads, "Hi, PP. When reflecting on their points, we do agree that while we have the right to edit the original PSD, Carol does not own the right to use Bella's work without credit. Your model does heavily reference Bella's model in terms of facial, ear, abdominal head proportions, ear placement, etc., and they deserve to be credited for their work. If you add Bella as a credited reference, then we would have no issues. However, if you do not credit the work, then more adjustments will be required on your part to make the model more distinct from Bella's version. We hope this is fair and respects all parties. We do not condone accurate threats, but do accept our original verdict failed to recognize Bella's credit and influence in the final model. While what she did was wrong in the first part of this case, sending an incomplete model that didn't match the reference, and we rightfully sided with Kira on the matter, this does not void Bella's right to be credited for her work, even if Kira and Bella part on negative terms. We do not feel you trace the work, especially giving you head rights to edit the PSD. However, reference credits should be given where it's due. To summarize, the issue isn't the tracing, but more so that Bella wants crediting for being used as a reference if the work is heavily referring her work. We've been extensively looking into both sides of the matter, and with the additional evidence being presented, now our decision may change. But this is what we need at the moment. Since the commission was completed on VGen, there are two options here regarding the model. A, since you reference Bella's artwork, you would need to give them credit. B, you would need to change the facial structure of the model. If you choose not to do either of the options above, unfortunately, we have to take account action that may lead to possible suspension in accordance with VGen TOS. What's not the ideal situation we have to deal with, they have the right to ask for accreditation in line with our TOS. We hope you understand our position as third-party service, and we do have to act accordingly in line with our TOS. Thank you for your patience and understanding. We agreed on changing the model and remaking the structure of the face, and the three of us erased everything related to the color. Even though we're giving green light for using our version of the model after the changes, we ultimately decided to discard it since we didn't want any more problems, nor disrespect the other party. No one was in the right in this case, and the call-out was extremely nasty on all parts. If it might take some of our credibility, I believe sharing it is too important since it shows how VGen admins approach this type of issue. They remain neutral all the way and didn't set up with anyone, so I look for the fairest option for all of us. This is it for us. We had nothing else to do with Malaya after this resolution. She was more than August for making a call-out after VGen closed the case with her. Her behavior with Eric and Liz VTuber is not new. This had happened before, and until she faced real consequences, it will happen again. Once the call-out was erased, she rebranded to Jester Head. She had another case with a different client a few months ago, and that's when she rebranded to Elira Hizora/Elira Studio. She made a post saying she was graduating, a post that she erased a few hours ago. She has no intention to change. Don't let her past actions be forgotten. Sincerely, Kira and PP. And if you think that is a lot, there's one more call-out. Comment to post. I went through something similar with Elira Studio, and this is my experience. It was nothing like what Ari had to deal with, and I just want to provide more context to Lara's character. It seems like only smaller VTubers get this kind of approach for her. And the document reads, I don't feel like making a big Twitter thread, so I'm putting the TLDR with screenshots to shed more light on Lara's behavior, curtain corners, and brushing for. Thanks for reading. I reached out on Twitter on December 24, 2024 for her emergency commission availability. I just had to send a request on VGen. I wanted a different outfit than what my model originally has in the VGen request, and said that in the extra info. No deadline. She asked for my design on VGen on January, and I sent it and included that I wanted a different outfit again with more details in the request. I just sent a very rough sketch with my normal outfit, but I said it's fine to be nice and not make a lot of trouble for her. And here they're saying they wanted a different outfit, a hood in ripped jeans, and a Hadorp Eyes toggle. They discussed an additional toggle and paid almost instantly. Also, before I started the sketch, that's fine, don't worry about the different outfit. And they're asking 10 USD for the new toggle, and they paid. No update until May, and it was a message saying she's rebranding. Read on Twitter May 4th for an update and got told I would get one May 6th. Read out again May 12th asking for an update. And here they are asking for the update and no update. Bumped the DM on May 15th. Reached out again May 17th to make sure everything was okay and was told something about her mental health and lab exams. Threatening her she would send an update when she was home. Responded late the next day saying no worries, I get it, and sorry for the late response. On May 20, deadline day, is when I got an update and the sketch was redone. Was told that she didn't want to do the other outfit. Mentioned she didn't want to do the outfit and that she didn't have specific details for it and didn't want to upset me. I clarified that I sent that. Now looking back, I'm unsure why she didn't want references unless she just ignored my message altogether. I don't know for sure. She might have ignored it. She has ignored other clients after all. And said why I was okay with the outfit. I asked for one fix with the wings and if the column will be done within a reasonable time since it was a deadline. Was told that this time it was a medical issue and the rigging wasn't done and she asked for 1 week to finish the rig. She ends up sending me a new whip with the wings fixed and apologized for the delay and offers a refund. I would love to rig her, but that's up to you. I messed the delivery time. I'm so sorry and I deeply apologize for that. I understand if you want a refund of the rig. Thank you so much for being so patient with me. I appreciate that a lot. I said the wings were better and that I understand and I'm okay with waiting. She said thank you and that she would make her very bouncy. And they're all very sweet with each other. I hear nothing on video or Twitter from her until the day it's due. Maybe 1 day ahead of time, I'm not sure to be honest. And just gets in the final product and the column is marked complete. I then proceed to express my feelings on the entire commission and she replies with a huge message. It reads, hey, sorry for the late response since I was traveling and wasn't able to check out the final product to send over a VGen and just now had a chance to check it out. I have a few concerns with the quality of the rig, however. It's not very bouncy or expressive, and I have no angle C movement. I double-checked your VGen listing, and it doesn't say anywhere that would be an upgrade, so I assume it would come rigged with it. Same goes with the mouth and eyebrow movement, since the mouth just opens, closes, and has slight smile, and the eyebrows only go up and down. There's no angry, happy explicitness to them. My eyelid and lashes are really stiff as well in comparison to the emergency calm ad you put out on Twitter back in December when I bought the model, and the hair is really stiff as well. Overall, in comparison, the rig is not what I was expecting from your previous showcases and based off your weird posts on Twitter since I bought the model. I feel like I was put on the back burner or forgotten about, and then the rig was just rushed to save face with Della and VGen. I'm not trying to be rude, but I had zero communications unless I reached out first, and it still took over a week at times to get an update. I know the column was on the more affordable side, so I'm not expecting perfection. This what was advertised. If there's anything you can correct these things, that would be greatly appreciated. If not, I would like a refund for the rig work, since the art was fine. Also, I would like to point out in your TOS that you do not offer reviews after the product has been delivered, but since I never got a chance to look over the rig, I hope you can understand why I would not like to pay a revision fee. I will also not be home on May 31 to late night, 1st of June, since I am traveling out of town for a family event. So I'll be unavailable those days. Let me know if you need anything else from me and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And Laura says, hello Coventry, I'm going home tomorrow so I can send you a video of how the rigging is. Since it's the normal tier, that means it doesn't have V-bridger. I did it very bouncy and didn't add angle Z because on the chibis doesn't look that good. But if you want, I can add it since I have the CMO3 files. I also added a free hair toggle. Basically, I felt like my account was put on the back burner because he was doing another VTuber who is a lot bigger than me. No hate, like, get your bag, but my money is good too, and you already took it to just provide the service I paid for. I need to state that Wax tells me it's not in her TOS at the time of my commission, and I brought that up to her. I'm so sorry, but the website update nights are of a bigger tier, and I clarified that. We're not forgotten. I had many issues in real life that I don't feel comfortable sharing here on my socials because they are very personal. This is my only work and I do it all with love. I did the chip the most detailed and cute as possible. The rig was not rushed. It was done the first 3 days you gave me the chance to update the deadline. But because I have a law exam on 2 days, June 2nd, you have 3 fixes. If there is anything you don't like or wish to change, I can do that. I just feel upset that you don't really like the model at all, and it's fine, I guess. And if there's anything I can do to help and make you happy, then I'll be willing to do it. Again, I'm sorry. And Coventry says, hi, I just want to make sure you know that I love the art. It's super adorable and I have no issue with that at all. My main concern was the rig, based off the video used to promote and advertise the commission. But I didn't notice on the VGen listing for the Chibi commission didn't state there were different rigging tiers, so I'm a little confused now. Also, really quick, I'm not upset about the whip being posted or not on Twitter, but from my perspective, from the Twitter posting, it seemed rushed based on your finished product. I usually don't say things because I have been told I'm too blunt or sound like a bitch, so when I do speak up, I try really hard to be as passive about things as I can, just to not be taken the wrong way. The last thing I want to do is upset someone when that isn't my intention, because 1, it upsets, and 2, it's frustrating for me because I feel like an asshole, and I told her that. I also assured her that the art was fine because it was. In my opinion, it was perfect amount of derp and I loved it, just not the rig. And that they're communicating from a perspective, she understands my POV and fixes my issues with them. I tell her that I understand and reiterate the fixes and thank her again for understanding where I'm coming from. And they're communicating and talking about the burpee toggle. The Coventry really likes it. It sends my win videos and that she added 2 free toggles and 2 vibrator sets. And they say, hello, I just want to let you know I never got the updated files. Also sorry for the late message, didn't realize the time when the talk came to mind. And Elira was promising to send the files. She said she would send the files over tomorrow, on June 2nd, but I messaged her on June 5, saying I never got them because I didn't realize the time has passed and was told she had a throat infection and she would deliver them today. I say get well soon, but the next day, June 6th, she says she thought she sent them over and that she would do it now. And then sends the files. Didn't receive the files until almost noon the next day. There was a slight issue with the thief that I brought up. And then they're talking about if they downloaded it correctly. And then they sent another file, as if it downloaded it properly. And I was at dinner, so I couldn't reply, but she's checking for her mistake, fixed it, and sent it back. And then they're asking why they got a 4-star review. I did everything as you wanted and also added a lot of free stuff. You even expect me to make more free stuff that you didn't pay for? And still do it, being rude again. It was fine, everything was fixed, I need to be fixed, but I gave a 4 out of 5 star because of all the issues of not getting my model finished on June 6th. A little over 2 weeks from the original deadline and over a week from an extended deadline, along with all the other issues I had, and I was met with this message, and then blocked because I chose not to reply to the hostility, and Elira posted on Twitter. Now I understand why many artists/riggers don't want to do public commissions anymore. To then proceed to make this tweet shortly after messaging me, and it has since been deleted. I reached out to VGen to report her about the issues that I had and the hostility and professionalism, and they said to continue to stay away from her to prevent anything else from happening. I want to say that I am a really patient person when it comes to commissions because I understand the stress of perfectionism and deadlines. But what I don't appreciate is false advertisement and gaslighting. I expressed my feelings about the situation. Yes, my issues were fixed at the end of the day, and I'm very grateful for that. But I shouldn't have to say what I did and get met with, you were on the back burner forgotten about, trust me, instead of taking accountability for making me feel that way. I don't want perfection, nor do I expect it. I just want to be taken seriously without having to fight for it. The only reason I'm making this poorly put together Google Doc is because of what else has been brought to light about her, and how she's trying to blame her client and blatantly lie because it's not okay, and I don't agree with anyone doing it. Thanks for reading, and like I said, I'll post the videos and according context below. Edit. Found this tweet that was made about me amidst all the tweets going on about the situation. It's a tweet we saw in the previous document. And that's all. I hope so. This was huge. For sure, a really professional artist. And again, don't say hate to anyone. I really hope everyone who was affected was able to find someone who they could work with and get a result they're proud of. Because those situations were surely stressing, and I hope everything's good now. As much as we shouldn't send hate towards them, we should not forget, because forgetting situations like this just means they'll happen again and again with new people. That was it for now. Don't forget to leave a comment, and bye-bye!